Pukeology Podcast, where science meets your hilarious puke stories and the tips and tricks to stop that up-chuckle that you need.
You never know what's going to spew out of her mouth. Here's
my mama,
Dr. Puke Nomo.
Will eating peanuts, peanut butter, or shrimp give my unborn baby allergies to these foods if I eat them during pregnancy? Well, it's time for you to find out and ask the doc, 'cause I'm in. Today, you'll learn all about allergies and foodborne allergies even before your babies are born. In today's episode 67, will I give my baby allergies if I eat certain foods? Want no more morning sickness, pregnancy nausea, or how about no more headaches or migraines? Visit our sponsor, nomonausea.com, the only natural way to instantly stop your worst nausea, vomiting, or headaches and sleep problems now. And get 25% off with this code, PUKE25. That's PUKE 25. Or just place your No More Nausea band on your baby registry for your delivery bag, during your labor and delivery room at Bye Bye Baby, or get it shipped for free in just 2 days on Amazon Prime as a Prime vendor. You can also find them for your little ones too with No More Nausea Kids and No More Sleepless Nights Kids. The sleep one works for moms with small wrists too. Now available at your local Walmart stores. Get ready to hear some pregnancy humor that may just make you want to pee your pants. Like you don't have to pee all the time anyway, with hilarious stories like double pee, chunks and vents, Taco Tuesday coming up. If you want to learn more about your pregnancy, humor and knowledge is the key to help you survive these 9 months. And just know we're in this together. Today, you will learn the science behind why babies get food allergies, and does it start in the womb by what you, the mom, eats? Plus, get the 9 most common food allergens and how to include them in your baby's diet once they reach a certain infant age. Get all of this with our doctor in today's Pregnancy Pukeology Podcast, episode 67, Will I Give My Baby an Allergy If I Eat Peanuts While I'm Pregnant?
The science of puke, pukeology.
Will I give my baby an allergy if I eat peanut butter? Well, you're pregnant. Congratulations. But wait, am I asking the right questions? Is there another question that I just don't know? A lot of times I forget to ask my OB. Well, don't worry. That's why I'm here. Hi, I'm Jackie. I'm your favorite pregnancy doc. I actually am one. And I'm going to be telling you, will eating peanut butter, peanuts, shrimp make your unborn baby develop an actual allergy? You'll also find out, should you eat peanut butter and shrimp while you're pregnant? And here's some really interesting things that you should know about eating them before your baby is born. So when you're pregnant, your body becomes sensitive to different types of foods that you eat, and it may actually react differently. This is no surprise that you may be fearful or afraid that eating some of the foods may make you have an allergy. Well, there's actually 9 common types of food allergens: milk, eggs, soy, sesame, wheat, nuts, fish, peanuts, and shellfish. Don't worry if you didn't get a chance to write all of them down. If you just go to Pregnancy Pukeology Podcast, you'll actually find it, and you'll be able to see a whole infographic on what are the top 9 food allergens. Well, according to the Center for Disease and Control Prevention, the CDC, about 1 in 13 children develop a food allergy. Peanut butter is one of the most common food allergens, and that's across all age groups. In fact, in North America, approximately 1.4 of children have peanut and tree nut allergies. Wow, that's a lot. Can pregnant women eat peanut butter? Before the year 2000, it used to be believed that a pregnant woman who ate peanut butter could potentially cause harm or cause her unborn baby to have peanut allergies. The American Academy of Pediatrics, the AAP, used to recommend that all pregnant women avoid eating peanut butter, especially if they had allergies in their distant family for this reason. However, with advancements in science and technology, the claim of eating peanut butter causing your baby to have an allergy has been overturned. Reliable evidence shows that eating peanut butter positively affects their allergy, which compelled the AAP to withdraw their recommendations in 2008. So, should you therefore eat peanut butter while you're pregnant? Yes. So again, it's an old wives' tale telling you not to eat the things that your baby could potentially be the most allergic to, provided you yourself are not allergic to peanut butter or iodine or shrimp or anything like that. So findings suggest eating peanut butter while pregnant actually may reduce the chances of your baby having an allergy. This is because they trigger your unborn child's immune system to learn to tolerate peanut butter if they may and could potentially protect him or her from a peanut allergy in the future. Eating peanut butter while pregnant can also improve your pregnancy outcome. It is rich in protein that helps with growth of your baby. Besides, it's a great source of antioxidants and folate, which is something that helps develop your baby's central nervous system and prevent birth defects. If you're sitting here thinking, what should I be eating during pregnancy? Then you want to go over to one of our other most talked about podcasts in What Should You Be Eating? A Common Pregnancy Question. It's episode 16, so go check it out. Now, can pregnant women eat shrimp? Yes, shrimp is low in mercury-containing seafood, thus it's safe for your pregnancy. Other low mercury seafood that you can eat in pregnancy are sardines, salmon, and catfish. While it is safe to eat shrimp during pregnancy, you should avoid not eating more than 12 ounces per week of shrimp. And so if you're sitting here going, what is she talking about? There are fish that are very large that are found in the deep sea that contain high levels of mercury. So high levels of mercury fish are the ones that we want to avoid. In doing so, you have to remember that these large fish can also have other problems that are associated. You don't want to be ingesting mercury because remember, 20% of your blood flow actually goes to the baby. And remember that their liver is very immature and they're not able to really flush all that stuff out. So in flushing that stuff out, they always say make sure that you stay away from big fish like king mackerel, swordfish, ahi tuna, marlin, and big-eyed tuna, all which contains those high levels of mercury. You just want to avoid them at all costs. If you're curious as to what you should not be eating, so I just told you in episode 16, we talked about what you should be eating during pregnancy, getting all of those nutrient-rich foods, but we also have a podcast, it's Pregnancy Pukeology Podcast, episode 5, Foods to Avoid While You're Pregnant. Yes, you cannot eat hot dogs off of the shrimp salad buffet or whatever it is whenever you go through the line, pasta salad, stuff like that. You definitely want to avoid them, especially at a picnic, because you have a decreased immune system while you are pregnant. So if you want to learn more about that, just go hop on over to episode 5 and take a listen. Can babies have allergies in the womb? Good question. While allergies are caused by the interplay of genetic factors and environmental factors, so it's both, guys. It's genetic and environmental. They can happen before your baby is born. If you have a child with an allergy or your partner has an allergic condition, there's an increased risk that your baby will develop allergies while in the womb. Common food allergies in babies include the following. If your baby has a food allergy when the body develops an abnormal reaction to a particular food, these are the common allergies in babies. And we just talked about 9 of them, but we're going to spend a little bit more time on 7 of them. Milk, wheat, soy, fish, peanuts, eggs, and shellfish. Now, I also want to let you guys know that in our current day and age, there are a lot of other things that are found in foods. They have been highly placed with antibiotics, just the way that they make sure that they cultivate a quote unquote clean type of living, you also increase the risk that you're getting other things such as dyes. So if you've ever taken a look at salmon that you get from the grocery store, it's highly given these red dyes. And my child, for example, has ADHD, and we've found that high red dye volumes of things such as salmon will actually cause a massive allergic reaction. Same thing with the actual colorants inside of like high C. My son can't have those either because it really causes an allergic reaction from not just the skin, the GI tract, vomiting, but also actually neurological. It stops them from being able to process and actually think normal because they have these huge compounds that their body is not able to get rid of or digest. And this is the reason why when your baby is born, they will do a little test on the bottom of the feet. It's called PKU test. Okay, they're trying to see whether or not your baby can digest phenylalanine. If they cannot, which is a very large amino acid, that can cause delayed developmental growth. Can also cause a bunch of severe brain dysfunction, and it can present itself by babies not being able to walk, talk, normal things of that nature. So they do the PKU test to make sure that your baby is not at risk because the majority of foods that we actually encounter in this day and age have them, okay? So they will do a PKU test. If you're curious all about it, I got to make a podcast for that one because I haven't done it so far. So you can tell if your baby has a sensitivity, or a food allergy. They will do the following. 1, they will vomit. 2, they could have diarrhea. They could have difficulty breathing. This is what we call an anaphylactic reaction. Okay, an anaphylactic reaction is when, as soon as they come in contact, their body's immediate immunoresponse is absolutely crazy. So it just goes absolutely nuts. Histamine is released in a massive way, so much so that it actually clamps the lungs down. So they're not able to breathe. It causes swelling around the lips, the tongue. And in adults, we always say, hey, let me know if your tongue feels weird. But for babies, we can't see it. All we can see is the swelling. They can't physically tell us, and you may see the drooling. It is extremely important you rush the child to an emergency care facility, and that they, or if you know that they have an allergy, please use an EpiPen or high concentrations of Benadryl. So they could have difficulty breathing, like we talked about, a low blood pressure, which means that they are in anaphylactic shock, swelling around the lips, face. You will also see protrusion potentially of the eye sockets, but also in the area that it was touched and or ingested, and cramps after taking a particular food. And for babies who are colic, a lot of times food allergens are missed because they're constantly crying after they eat. And a lot of times colic is caused by different food allergies, especially to milk. So that's why they will recommend trying soy and seeing if your baby will actually kind of keep it down. So now that we've had all like the real, science behind all of it, let's get into some hilarious puke stories so we can all have a good laugh.
Throwing up on a Tuesday? One puke story.
I'll start off with a personal story I call Double P. Puke and poop. That's it. Contracting the rotovirus during my first pregnancy, I started feeling an upset stomach after eating questionable picnic food that had been sitting out and holding all those snotty-nosed children from my husband's side of the family. It came on like a ton of bricks once we got home. I asked him to pick up some Pepto-Bismol, so he left and ran to the store. I then started puking uncontrollably, but before I was able to get up off of the ground, the forceful expulsion from my bottom started when I was heaving. My husband came home to a double puddle of puke and poop. And started gagging. And the second he smelled the double P smell. If you ask my husband what he thinks of the rotovirus, he will say lemon Lysol. And now we can't use it to clean that solution because it reminds us of the nightmare that we once had. 6 months during pregnancy, driving separately to a restaurant to go get lunch with the hubs, 1 cough, and then vomit everywhere. On the dashboard, on the steering wheel, on my shirt, in the vents, in the cup holder, and in my lap. I was able to find a plastic bag after my 3rd heave, but by then it was done. Get into the restaurant and my husband pulls up next to me as I'm hysterically crying. Luckily, I had a change of clothes with me, so I put on my clothes in the empty puke plastic bag and began the 2-hour-long process of cleaning the inside of my car. That's true love. Thanks, Colleen Coleman, for that hilarious puke story. I have to say, I don't know if my hubby would have cleaned it either. Number 3, this happened during the early stages of pregnancy last year. I got weird cravings, and it just so happens that I craved a burrito and cherry limeade that day. My fiance was in the living room playing The Last of Us, and I was watching it when I started to feel sick. I put it off for as long as possible because I knew it was going to be disgusting. But soon I ended up throwing up chunks of cherry limeade stained bean burrito, and since it was made with flour tortilla, which gets kind of sticky when wet, I also experienced the added bonus of chunks getting stuck in my throat, causing me to gag for a while. Puking tastes disgusting coming up no matter what you've eaten, but this was probably the worst flavor of puke that I've ever personally experienced. The next day felt like I'd gotten into a serious ab workout, and I also had small bursted blood vessels around my eyes. Aww. To this day, I associate The Last of Us with many wonderful trips to the toilet. Now, ladies, do you have a hilarious puke story that you just can't wait to share? Send it to me, Pukeology, Pukeology, @nomonausea.com. That's NOMONAUSEA.com. Or tweet me at Pukeology so we can all have a good laugh.
Tips and tricks to stop the up-chuckle that you need.
So now you know the 9 common food allergens. I'm just going to go over them one more time so that you can actually hear them. Milk, eggs, soy, sesame, wheat, nuts, peanuts, fish, and shellfish. And yes, you can have a baby that has allergies in the womb, but no, eating all of these allergen-filled foods are actually important to help decrease the risk that your baby might actually have these allergies when they are born. So how to prevent food allergies in babies? While you can't completely prevent your baby from developing food allergies, there are things you can do while you're pregnant to delay your baby's response. And these include taking probiotics, especially during the 3rd trimester and while breastfeeding. Remember, probiotics is just a big term for when your body is unable to digest undigested food. It kicks in with extra bacteria. So these are cultures of bacteria that are not found in our normal gut, and they help to break the excess down. Now, there are many different types of probiotics that you can take. I personally have probiotics for my stomach, probiotics for my vagina. Yes, ladies, there is a probiotic. There are actually 2 different types that are really good for your vaginal canal, meaning because your gut, your bowels, and your vagina all lay right next to each other, it's very important that we talk about there are different things to be able to help with vaginal health, especially during pregnancy, because we have an increased risk of getting a lot of different venereal type of smelly discharge, as well as, we sometimes can get other type of disorders. So make sure that you go and check out episode 22. It's called Vaginal Discharge, What's in Your Underwear. And I did that intentionally because, again, this is something that a lot of us don't talk about, but bacteria vaginosis, different types of yeast infections, urinary tract infections. These are all very common during pregnancy because, once again, we have a decreased immunity. So if you can take probiotics during this time, it'll actually help you. So please make sure that you talk to your OBGYN about any type of natural medicinals that you may be taking, just to make sure it doesn't have any effect on that unborn baby. But make sure you take them when you're breastfeeding too. Exclusively breastfeeding your baby for the first 6 months. This helps because you avoid giving your babies cow milk or solid foods such as fish during this 1 year period until they're about 1 or older. And so I'm also going to tell you how to introduce these top 8 allergens or 9 allergens that we talked about, okay, especially for early during the babies. Now, I started my children on a food diet, started them off slowly. But this food diet, the way that I did it is I started it at 6 months, like everything was said, up until a year. So again, getting into these top 8 allergens into your baby's diet little by little. And I have a lot of immunologists who are friends, and they tell me they actually have invented different products that you can find that combine all of these allergens into like cookies, for example. So again, eggs. Eggs is one thing, you can get them into the baby by giving them hard-boiled little wedges, omelet strips, or pureed little egg salad. And so again, just making sure that you break it up close enough so that there's no risk of choking, but you can kind of get that in. And eggs are in a lot of different items, but you can be very intentional when you know that you're giving them eggs and see the type of reaction that they have. Wheat. So wheat pancakes, wheat-based hot cereals, wheat Chex, like the softened ones, with a little bit of breast milk or formula so that you can soften those Chex Mix or whatever it is with breast milk, and that will actually help them, and so then they can actually suck on it. Another thing is too, it becomes very slobbery. They have these really great, they look like almost like teething rings, and they have mesh on the end, and you can place the actual foods inside of it and have the baby suck on it so that their salivary glands or the enzymes that's found inside saliva help to break down the actual food. Now, peanut and tree nuts, they actually have a peanut butter that has both of them in it. So you can start to mix it into cereals. Add it little by little, add it a little bit to yogurt, see how the baby reacts to it. Spreading it on little pieces of toast strips, like little tiny toast strips is another good one. Getting fish into their diet, okay? Like little tuna salad. Again, I don't mean the tuna salad that's like covered in mayonnaise or anything like that. But again, tuna salad, having like a little bit of, maybe you can season it a little bit with lemon and things like that. Salmon patties are another good. They're nice and soft. And then home-baked fish sticks. I was going to say home-baked fresh fish sticks is another idea. Shellfish. We talked about, actually shrimp, right? A blended little shrimp salad. A whole actually shrimp for them to gnaw on it. Just take off the tail so it's not a choking hazard. And then finely chopped little pieces of shrimp fried into a patty. Kind of like, think of a salmon patty, but make it out of shrimp just to make sure that they don't have any allergies to iodine. Another one is soy. So again, soy, you can put it into baked little strips. They actually have, tofu is very common these days. You can find them. You can blend it into sauces. Some people even take tofu and they put it over top of beans whenever they're giving the baby beans, pan-fried patties and all that good jazz. And then the last is dairy. So trying to put it into a mix, almost like a smoothie. And the greatest way to do this is when you actually mix a smoothie with, it's got fruit, and you make little ice trays, okay? This is great for them while they're teething. They can actually suck on it, but also it gives them that milk inside of their diet little by little, even if they have an allergy, okay? So giving it to them a little by little. Now, if they stop breathing, obviously that's not an allergy that you want to play with, and you can get a full allergen panel from your allergist, an actual allergist. But you can also use dairy, so plain yogurt with fruit. And you can also use dairy in place of mayonnaise. So again, that plain yogurt type of feel, you can use it, and it's actually very good for the babies. So giving them a little bit goes a long way. I hope you guys have learned so much today. I will tell you that before 2000, we were actually advising pregnant women to not eat peanuts or not eat peanut butter and to not eat shrimp, all because of the fact that we were afraid that we were passing on this genetic possibility that they were going to have a food allergy, when in place it was actually opposite. So by us not telling women to eat these high allergen foods, we were actually increasing the opportunity or the risk that their babies were going to be born with these type of allergies. So today, I'm so glad that you've learned the science behind why babies get food allergies. Does it start in the womb? Yes. And it does depend upon what your mom eats. Plus, get the 9 most common food allergens that we talked about and how to include them inside your baby's diet once whole foods are considered okay. Thanks again for listening to Pregnancy Pukeology Podcast, episode 67. If you love me and you love everything that I have just talked about, please let me know. Give me hearts. Give me 5-star rating, and don't forget to download this episode, but most importantly, share it with all your Prego friends. Thanks again for listening to Pregnancy Pukeology Podcast, episode 67, Will My Baby Have an Allergy If I Eat Peanuts While I'm Pregnant? Till next time, pregnant mamas.
Pukeology Podcast, edutainment at its finest.